Those headlines aren't just noise, they're a warning. And the gap between people who understand AI versus people who don't is growing every day. But here's what most people don't realize. You don't need years to catch up, you don't need to be technical, and you don't need to learn everything at the same time. If you just spend 1 hour a day for the next 30 days and follow this plan, you'll be the top 1% of people who actually understand AI. So here's a simple roadmap that you can follow as a beginner. Let's start with stage 1, which is AI foundation, how a large language model works. So before you touch any tool, I want you to understand what's actually happening when you type a question or a prompt inside of ChatGPT. So imagine you're talking to a super smart student who has read millions of books, articles, website. So when you ask a question like, what is the capital of France? It just doesn't remember like a sentence in a textbook. It does even something smarter. So first it breaks that sentence into words, into tiny pieces, which are called tokens. It's like chopping a sentence into a Lego brick, and the process is called tokenization. Then it turns those words into numbers, and the process is called embedding. That's how a large language model understands based on the number. Then it will look for those numbers inside of its database to understand the meaning. So in this case, we have asked, what is the capital of France? So it will look at the word capital, and then it will find the closest word that relates to capital. In this case, city, which is the closest word. So then behind the scenes, it will do a probability calculation of what will be the next word. So in this case, it will come up with 3 different options. Either it could be Paris, London, Berlin. It will basically assign a probability. So Paris will be 85%, London would be 10%, and Berlin would be 5%. And the word which has highest probability, in this case, it's Paris. So it will choose Paris as the answer. So that's how a large language model is doing behind the scenes. It's basically finding the most similar word from the sentence that you have provided in the map of meaning inside of the database. Then it's finally trying to predict what's going to be the next word until it forms a sentence. So here's the key idea that you need to remember. If your input is garbage, the output that you get from the large language model is going to be garbage as well. So you need to make sure that your input is sharp so it can guess the best possible outcome. That's why the rest of the roadmap matters. So everything else we do, such as tools, prompts, workflows, agents, is about giving the prediction machine with better input and better context. So now we have learned what's happening, how the AI is thinking behind the scenes. The next question is, where do you actually talk to this brain of AI? So that's where the AI tool comes in, which is step 2, AI tools. Here's the mistake that a lot of people make after they hear AI. They have basically 6 different tabs open with different tools such as ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Perplexity, Copilot, DeepSeek, and they're just bouncing between different tools. Instead, what I want you to do is select a single tool, master that tool. So for example, if you work in a Microsoft environment, choose Copilot. If you work in a Google ecosystem, use Gemini. If you want to perform search related tasks, use Perplexity. If you just want a general AI tool or a large language model, choose ChatGPT or Claude. So the tool itself is not the point. The point is master one tool to make sure that you can perform each and every task that's related to your job. Once you have picked your tool, the next problem shows up. Most people talk to AI like a human, and they're shocked when the answer is vague or not useful. So that's where prompt engineering comes in, which is stage 3. So let me show you why your prompts matter more than you think. So imagine you type in this into your AI tool and you see there's no date, there's no time, there's no who, there's no why. The AI has to guess everything and you get a generic response. And now compare this to this prompt and you see there's a better output. It's the same tool, just completely different output. That's because you've used a proper structure and a framework and you've provided more context. So that's the core of prompt engineering. In this course, we break down a simple structure that I use, which is called TCSF. T stands for task, C stands for context, S stands for specifics, and F stands for format. So for now, just remember this. Don't type what's in your head. Type what actually AI needs to know so you get a better response. This one habit will 5 to 10x your results. But what really saves you hours every week is turning your good prompts into a workflow, which is step 4, AI workflows. So think about your email for a second. Every week you read updates, you reply to the same type of messages, you move things into a different folder, you create follow-up emails. Most people do this manually, one email at a time. A traditional workflow helps a little. So for example, if a subject contains the word urgent, it can move to the urgent folder, but it doesn't actually understand the message. And that's where AI workflow is different because it can understand the structure of the email. It's able to predict. So whenever you get a new email, it can sort, it can summarize, and it can notify you. But inside the workflow, the AI still needs to read the email, understand the meaning, draft the reply, and route it based on the content, not just keywords. So instead of just the subject called urgent, where it moves to a folder, with AI workflow, if the email is arrived from a client, it will understand the context, whether it's negative or positive, and it will search if it mentions deadlines. It will basically summarize and draft a reply. It will put it in your draft for you to review. So that's the beauty of AI workflow. It's a repeatable system powered by AI that runs your work on high value tasks, but workflow still need you to design every single step. What if AI could decide which steps to run and learn from what happens? That's where AI agent comes in, which is step 5. So you have an assistant and you ask a question, plan a 3-day trip to Napa Valley for $1,000. A basic automation can do that. That's where AI agent can understand the goal, break it into different tasks. It will search for flights and hotels. It will compare different options, and then it finally present you with an option that there's a $850 package and it will ask for your input. Should I book it? That's where AI agent comes in, where it will perform. You just have to provide a task and it will perform each and every step by on its own. So underneath the AI hood, it's basically a 4-step loop. So the first step is perceive. So it will try to understand what did you ask or what data do I have. The second step is reason. What's the goal or what are the steps? Third step is act. Basically, it will look for different tools. It will try to search, update, send. And the fourth step is learn. Did that work? So it will collect feedback and it will adjust based on that feedback. So the big shift is workflows follows steps what you design, but with agents, they decide the step to hit the goal. So basically, agents are workflows with brain and memory. But here's the catch. If your agent doesn't have access to real documents, emails, reports, it will still hallucinate. And that's where the next layer comes in, or the next phase, which is RAG and vector database, which is step 6. So if you ask our AI, what did we promise this client in our Q3 proposal? And AI just makes something up. That's because by default, it answers from training data. And that's where RAG can fix. So RAG is retrieval augmented generation. So when you ask a question, AI will search for that information in documents such as PDF, emails, reports. It will find the most relevant information and it will use those chunk of information to answer that question. So when you ask a question such as what are our Q3 marketing KPIs, it basically pulls real numbers from your Q3 report, which is stored in a vector database. Basically, it has memory where it can look for information that you've asked in the past. So think of it giving your AI a private library and teaching it how to find the right page before talking. So without RAG, your answers are plausible, but with RAG, your answers are much more accurate because it has the memory in the brain. So now you've got a prediction brain, tools, prompts, workflows, agent, knowledge base. Then the one last piece that connects everything, that's where MCP comes in, which is step 7, which is called Model Context Protocol. So right now, people connect AI tools the old way, where there is one integration for email, one integration for calendar, another integration for Slack, and another integration for database. Each has its own logic, authorization, and bugs. So it's like having 10 different phone numbers for 10 different departments. But MCP completely replaces that with one single switchboard. So instead of your agent talking to every single tool, it can basically talk to your MCP server, and that MCP server is connected to different tools. So your MCP server basically knows which tools are existing, how to talk to them, how to fetch the data, and how to run the actions safely. So when you say summarize today's Slack message and add key task to Notion, so your AI will send one request to MCP and that MCP will take care of rest of the process. So now if you spend 1 hour for the next 30 days following this roadmap, your career will not look the same. And if you want to build all these workflows, agent, RAG, vector database, MCP setups with proper guide step by step, this is exactly what I teach in my school community. The link is in the below in the description. So if you're serious about being the top 1% of AI professionals, don't wait for this. And even if you don't plan to join, you now have the roadmap. So next 30 days are on you.